the city of Philly, where the birds take flight. Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Blind guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. What's good, Eagles fans? What's good? This is your boy Tone DeShield II. I'm joined by my man Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk, and you guys are locked in on none other than your Eagles pregame show. Man, oh man, we've come too far just to come this far, Markus. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be able to talk about this game and be in this ambiance, be in this state of mind with you, my man. First and foremost, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Watched a lot of film. Had a couple of concerns, but as the week went on and things started playing out, I feel a little bit better. Being realistic about the situation. I believe we talked about this last time, man. You don't become a good run defense in a week. You don't do that. So I'm expecting the Eagles to continue to do what they've been doing and add a little extra to that, because Washington's got some choices to make. They sold out last time when Jalen got hurt, and then they had 8, damn near 15 people in the box in the second half, and held I think what was it, 26 yards on 21 carries or something like that for Saquon in the second half. Yeah, they sold out for it, but you can't do that. You can do that when you got a backup quarterback that hasn't had any reps.
Right.
You're not going to do that when somebody that's got reps. You want to bring that safety up, and you leave your boy out there single high safety. He got a decision to make, and that might be where they make their mistakes. So I think Cam Jurgens is going to be ready. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be ready, and the rules don't change when the line of scrimmage don't turn the ball over. I know the Eagles are probably going to be looking to get a little get back from that last game, and I'm ready to go, man. I don't see when you take the hype out of it, when you turn off the morning shows and all of that kind of stuff and all of the bias, and Jane Daniels is that dude. Give him his props. When you playing like that, talk your talk. Sure. You can do that, but let's not forget that the only reason you had that other opportunity to win the game was because we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball. If it wasn't for a couple of drop passes and a Hail Mary, you wouldn't even be in the playoffs. Let's keep it a buck. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, don't do nothing but rhyme. We are here in a couple of hours. We're going to step on that field downtown Philadelphia, and we're going to see what's what.
I love it. And leading up to this game, right? There's been a lot of emotions on both sides, right? Coming from both fan bases. But what I've noticed is as the day has gotten closer, I've noticed, at least in my opinion, I've noticed Eagles fans, Eagles supporters just growing more calm, more relaxed, just allowing the day to approach. But on the other side, I've noticed Commanders fans, as the day's gotten closer, they've gotten more jittery, more excited, more on edge, if you ask me.
Hey, what your mama tell you when she took you to the store when you was a kid? Don't act like you ain't never been nowhere.
Don't act like you ain't never been nowhere.
And that's exactly what they do. They dancing in practice. The Washington fans took over the Hard Rock Cafe. Man, please stop playing with me,
bro. That you took over a tourist attraction that most people in Philly don't really go to.
And they still put the clothes on the statue, man.
Meet me at 23rd and Diamond. Let me see if you
Facts.
could take that over. Meet
Facts.
me on Broad Street. See if you can take that over. You know what I'm saying? You know, but
It's all
regardless,
good.
though, it's all good though. It's a fun time, and both teams have definitely put in the work to be here. In my opinion, neither team was really expected to be here. A lot of people had the Philadelphia Eagles not even making the playoffs. Some people had them picking in the top 10, despite how talented the roster was. A lot of people didn't trust the head coach. A lot of people didn't trust the quarterback. A lot of people didn't trust the direction the defense was going in. And then all of a sudden, Vic Fangio comes in. You draft Quinyon Mitchell. You draft Cooper DeJean. You draft Jalix Hunt. You sign Zach Bond. You bring back CJ GJ. You elevate Nakobe Dean. Isaiah Rodgers becomes available, and Nolan Smith takes that next step. I mean, this defense has truly become the pulse, the lifeblood of this Eagles team. It's funny, we thought coming into the season we would be carried by the offense, or the offense would be the heartbeat of this team.
Right.
And what we've seen, or what it's been, is that the defense has been the heartbeat of this team. This defense has dictated the terms of engagement. And I've always been of the mindset of don't wait for something to happen, make it happen. And that's what this defense has been all year long. They haven't waited for anything to come to them. They've gone out and taken it. And they've been led by Vic Fangio, the legend. I mean, when you think about what Vic Fangio has done for this defense over the course of the season, and then what they've been able to do over the course of these playoffs to some pretty good quarterbacks and to some pretty good offenses, what's your comfort level when it comes to this defense in this game against a young quarterback like we both admitted off air? He's on fire. He's feeling it right now. He's won 2 playoff road games, one off of a field goal that doinked and bounced in, and another game where they went up against arguably one of the worst defenses that entered the playoffs in the Detroit Lions.
Right.
So what's your comfort level with this Eagles defense going up against this Washington offense who's playing with some confidence?
Tone, what do I always say? Keep doing what you've been doing. Everything you just laid out, even talking about the criticisms that we had last season, those were valid criticisms. Absolutely 100% valid. So when you get somebody in-house that can transform a defense the way he's done, and I don't think people talk about that enough. They haven't talked about that on the morning shows enough. We got Vic Fangio. We ain't got somebody that runs a version of his system. We got the man. We ain't got the man sitting next to the man. We got that dude, and it has paid dividends. He took us from worst to first. I don't think people appreciate that. They take that for granted. He took us from worst to first on defense. We couldn't tackle a freaking thing last season. It was so frustrating because that's the basic tenet of fundamental football. You must be able to tackle effectively. And we couldn't do that to save our lives last year. And it probably cost us like 3 or 4 games. So to have that situation lay out the way that it did, and for us to come back, losing Fletcher Cox, losing BG, losing Hassan Reddick, and to still
Jason Kelce as well, yeah.
Jason Kelce, but I'm speaking specifically on the defense.
Right.
To lose those guys and to get these young guns together, because everybody was trying to write Nolan Smith off already after 1 year. He's a bust, shouldn't have drafted him that high. Didn't know what Jalen Carter was going to turn. Yes, he's good, but is he a head case? And all of that type of stuff. Jordan Davis is too big, and Josh Sweat, it's a good thing we didn't pay him that money, and all whatever your concern was. Vic Fangio has taken what we had, drafted Jalix Hunt from a school that didn't nobody know of, had never heard of, and you give him the opportunity to play. And look what coaching matters. I keep saying that. Coaching matters. Prime examples, look at what's going on in Washington. We about to face them today. You put that guy, if Jaden Daniels goes anywhere else, it's not the same. I saw the video clip of Brian Daboll saying that he would sell everything for Jaden Daniels, but management didn't feel that way. You know what
Hold
I'm
on,
saying?
wait. I heard there was a clip going around.
Yeah, I think that was from Hard Knocks.
You said Daboll wanted Jaden Daniels?
I believe it was phrased, and I'm remembering. They were sitting at the table. They were asked, "Well, who do you like, or do you like this kid, Jaden Daniels?" Something to that effect. And Brian Daboll said something to the effect of, "I would give everything to get Jaden Daniels in here." Like he really liked him,
Wow. And it's
and
so funny.
that just lets you know that
Mhm.
all of the people that are making the decisions are not the smartest man in the room.
And to your point about Vic Fangio, see, when a coach sees a guy that he likes, you got to listen to him when he's saying it. He's coaching these guys. He understands football. You know what I mean? When the football people are talking, you got to listen. So when you think about it from an Eagles perspective, when you draft the Quinyon Mitchell on defense out of Toledo, you draft Cooper DeJean out of Iowa, you draft Jalix Hunt out of Houston Christian. Those were your first 3 draft picks.
Yeah.
Those were your first 3 draft picks. And sure, Quinyon Mitchell was, graded as being one of the better corners of the draft class. Same thing with Cooper DeJean. They were both considered top 5 corners in the draft class. But regardless, though, when you're not drafting in the SEC or even the Big Ten, like you can things can get a little. It can get a little risque. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people say you draft in the SEC, you can't go wrong, right? But when you would draft a guy out of Toledo, out of Iowa, and out of Houston Christian as your first 3 picks, though you intentionally wanted those guys.
Right.
You felt like those were the guys that can execute your game plan the best way possible. Those were the guys that fit your mold. And to see those guys make the impact that they've had on this defense, I mean, the way Jalix Hunt has developed over the course of the season has been truly remarkable to watch. We've seen some development out of Jalix Hunt in year 1 that we didn't get the chance to see out of a guy like Nakobe Dean in year 1 or Nolan Smith in year 1 because maybe they were buried on a depth chart or they had some veterans in front of them. And right, so things happen, but to be able to trust essentially 3 rookies on your defense with some pretty major snaps, some pretty high leverage situations speaks volumes about Vic Fangio's coaching and what he's been able to bring out of this defense. Man, everyone's playing at an elite level right now. I think this defense is playing their best football right now. Seeing the way Darius Slay has been moving out there, the way he moved in that snow was remarkable.
Yeah, it was impressive.
CJ has been one of the highest graded safeties since week 9 in the NFL. I mean, CJ, and it's funny, since being ejected from the previous Washington game, you've seen CJ I don't want to say he's gotten quiet, but you've seen a much more focused CJ He's letting us play do the talking, and he's really stepped up his leadership, and I think that's one thing that doesn't get talked about on this defense. Their intangibles are unmatched. The amount of leadership, the balance between veterans, young veterans, and rookies, and so on and so forth. I mean, this team, the defense in particular, is constructed so soundly.
Yeah, and specifically when you were talking about Quinyon Mitchell, think about this: the only reason Quinyon Mitchell didn't get more hype was because he was at Toledo. And in my opinion, what turned it around, the tape started coming out on him, but that Toledo thing was on his head. It just wasn't a big enough school, right? Then, if you remember, the word came out that, he's a high character guy. Why is he a high character guy? Because he could have took a lot of NIL money to go to LSU his senior year, and he stuck with the guys that brought him to the dance. So that kicked his stock up a little bit. But that just goes to show, even now, with all of this technology, with all of these resources we have to evaluate talent, people still look at the name brand first. They don't want to, if you could go in and with special effects, strip off the icons, the colors, make everybody's uniforms gray with no names and no logos, and you just went off the talent that you saw on the field, then you would have a true evaluation of what you're bringing in to your organization. But because we can't do that, because they're looking for somebody from LSU, from Alabama, from Georgia, from all of those SEC schools, and don't get it twisted, there are a lot of SEC players that don't cut the mustard, but they get opportunity after opportunity because of where they went to school. That's just the way the game is played, and you got to live with it. And that's why, me personally, coming from a school like Eastern Kentucky, when I see somebody like Jalix Hunt, and I see somebody like Reed Blankenship from Middle Tennessee. We played Middle Tennessee. He OVC'd. I'm like, you from our conference, bro. Much love to you. So, but at the end of the day, it's all about when they get on the field, do they produce? If they produce, put them in the game. If they in the game, do they produce? And then you roll with it. Because a lot of them big name players, they ain't cutting it. So hopefully that that outlook on how they grade players is changing a little bit. And we are benefit from that because we got Howie Roseman and the coaches we got that are truly good at evaluating talent. Even Bryce Huff, as much maligned as he was producing before he got injured. So
yeah, he started to come on.
Yeah,
he started to come on, and then he got hurt. And
so shout out to Vic Fangio, man. He's doing the damn thing, bro.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, right? You mentioned how you strip away the colors and the team name and the last name and just who's the better player, right? And for me, I think that's why a guy like Quinyon Mitchell got selected ahead of a guy like Terrion Arnold, because, like you said, Quinyon had his opportunity to go out of Alabama. And Nick Saban was very candid that he wanted him. He was candid on live television. He said we wanted him over there. So when I heard him say that, and I found out that Quinyon had the opportunity to go to Alabama many times, but he just declined. It makes me look at a guy like Terrion Arnold, who got drafted by Detroit, and makes me question how good he really is or really was, right? Because if your head coach wanted somebody else over you,
changes things a little bit, right?
That speaks volumes to me. And we've seen throughout this season how inconsistent Terrion Arnold has been and how undisciplined he's been all year. One thing about Quinyon Mitchell, he hasn't gotten many PIs called on him. I think over the course of the season, he's probably only got maybe 1 or 2 PIs called on him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's a pretty sound corner, and one of his biggest matchups of the season earlier on was Terry McLaurin, right? And Terry McLaurin, in my opinion, is one of the best wide receivers in the game. I don't think he gets enough respect. He's been buried in Washington for several years, and now he's getting a chance to really show his skill set on the highest level. I think Terry McLaurin is one of the best receivers in the game. He's actually a part of AJ Brown's draft class as well. So those guys, I think they were drafted 2nd round or 3rd round, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But Quinyon, the first matchup, he got the better of him. Right, Terry McLaurin was a non-factor, but then the second matchup, Scary Terry got his get back.
Yeah, yes, he did.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how that matchup goes, because going towards the end of the season, those final couple weeks, you saw offenses taking their shot at Quinyon, and he gave up some stuff, but then once the playoffs started, he bunkered down and he cleaned up whatever mistakes that was that was ailing him, right? He had a good game against Green Bay, had a really good game against the Rams, right? Before he got hurt. So that's a matchup I'm going to be watching, right? Because that's the number 1 target. And then you get the Zach Ertz, right? So I'm going to be really curious to see how the Eagles defense, in particular Quinyon Mitchell and those safeties, how they neutralize Terry McLaurin from affecting his game.
Yeah, and I think, admittedly, let's look at that first game. That's when Terry McLaurin had 1 catch for 10 yards or 15 yards or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think a lot of that had to do with that was when Jaden Daniels was hurt, so he wasn't rolling out to his left too often. So we had him bunkered down like that, but that's the way the game goes. He's been, and here's where people have to be very realistic with what you expect from Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell has been so far above expectation, it's not even funny. But the other guys get paid too. Terry McLaurin gets paid.
He's still a rookie. He's still a rookie.
Right. So he gonna win some and he gonna lose some. But let's just make sure that the ones that you lose ain't for 6.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
It comes with the territory, right? I mean, even the elite of the elite get beat. We saw Darius Slay get beat by Puka on that bomb against the Rams on the final drive, but then he bunkers down and makes like 2 key pass deflections. I mean, we've seen it happens to the elite of the elite.
Exactly. Everybody can get got. But you just got to remember Terry McLaurin gets paid too. Puka Nacua gets paid too. And you know what? There is a reason they get paid too. So I'm sure the same thing we talking about get back, and getting a revenge game and letting them know where you stand. You don't think Terry McLaurin was having them conversations after that first game? He was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going out like this. And that's fair because he's an elite receiver in the NFL. And you got to treat him as such because everybody, and this is what we fans have a problem focusing on. They want to focus on that bad game. Everybody has bad games. Right. Everybody does. But you can't focus on that and just assume that that happens all the time. Everybody going to have a down week or something like that or make a mistake. Again, we saw Devontae Smith drop a ball that he catches for 1,000,000 times when it hits him in the hands. Last week, we saw A.J. Brown drop that ball that would have put us on the 1-yard line. 99 other times, he catches that ball. And then this whole situation of Jalen not throwing the ball and he had an okay game. You think about those two passes. I believe the pass for Devontae Smith that he dropped when he got hit in the helmet. Right. That I think that would have been like a 30-yard play. And then the one
like 30, 40 yards, something, 40 yards, something like that. Yeah.
And then the same with the one for AJ. If he catches that, the stats look totally different.
Totally different.
And just those two plays, you have a totally different outlook of how Jalen is playing. He's got to throw the ball more. He's got to do a better job getting. No, because you add, let's just say you add 70 yards to his total. And that puts him in what, 240 for the game or whatever it was, or just over 200. I can't remember what it was, but if he goes anywhere over the 200-yard mark, that's a totally different outlook of how he played. Now, I put that on him for that safety he took, but definitely, I also put that on Kellen Moore. Why are you calling the play like that? Any other time you hand the ball off to Saquon and you see what's going to happen. Not right there, but I blame that on Jalen because Jalen had Dallas Goedert right in front of him for the screen. He just didn't get rid of the ball, and then you go into the way the offensive line played. And I still say this, even though we came back and won that game last week, that was one of the worst performances by our offensive line. It was horrible. Mekhi Becton overshoots the hole, and we give up a touchdown on the goal line. And it's like, bro, all you got to do is do what they teach you. You hit the hole where you're supposed to hit it. The linebacker sneaks right underneath them, and they get a tackle for a loss. Now we at the 3-yard line. Like stuff like that. A.J. Brown whiffing on this block on the linebacker. Linebacker gets a tackle for a loss. And it's like those two plays we should have scored on, but everybody not doing their job. So it's the little things like that you don't see. All you see is why we running the ball. Why couldn't we tush push? Why didn't we tush push on third down instead of, So all of those questions come into play. But when you look at the film, it tells a different story. Cam Jurgens didn't have a good game. Mekhi Becton certainly didn't have a good game. Are you expecting an overcorrection? Not overcorrection, but are you expecting this offensive line to be even more focused in this game, knowing how that game went last week? Is that what you're saying? Because I was just about to say, if I can see it, I know they can see it. I know they can see it. So a couple of times, Kellen Moore had the right play call. We didn't block it right. 2-3 weeks ago, I was talking about how our wide receivers and our tight ends are really not good at blocking. Like, bro, AJ, you got a linebacker on your face on goal line. You lined up tight. He is head up on you. You got to get that block. I don't care what position you play. The number one rule, if you blocking somebody that's heads up, do not let them cross your face. And that dude went right in front of AJ, got in the backfield, and got Saquon 1 yard deep. And we ended up losing the yard on the goal line. And it's like, and then the very next play was the pull by Becton where he overshoot and the linebacker sneaks underneath and then tackle for a 2-yard loss. Next thing you know, we on the 3 or the 4 yard line, but we was on the half-yard line trying to get in. I believe that was after the Isaiah Rodgers fumble recovery. So
yes. How much
we have to? I'm sorry. We have to be able to take advantage. We have to score points when the defense gives us the ball.
And here's the thing, right, about this defense, right? To your point, and I'm definitely going to tap into the offense because I love where you're going with this. The thing about the Eagles' defense is they've done a pretty good job at keeping points off the board, right? And this defense that the Commanders are going to face today, sure, they played it twice, but this isn't the defense of the Lions. This is a very, very different monster we're talking about here. We're talking about a Lions team that gave up a significant amount of yards after contact, meaning they couldn't tackle. I mean, when you really watch that, when you really watch that Lions game back, that defense was porous. It was Swiss cheese. But another thing that stood out to me was how porous Washington's defense was. But regardless, though, you know, I just think when you look at this Eagles defense and how they've been playing, the confidence they're playing with, and when you have a guy like Jalen Carter on the defensive line who is a game wrecker. I mean, not having Sam Cosmi, your starting right guard, who's arguably your best offensive lineman, who's been having a great year, who actually did a fairly good job against Jalen Carter last time they played. When you don't have him, that's not going to be an easy proposition.
Yeah. And guess what? If you did have your starting guard, Jalen Carter's been double teamed and held almost every play this season. I think I saw a stat where he was double teamed like 40% of the snaps he was in.
Yes, he was. And he played. He only missed 2 snaps in that game, Rams game. He was double teamed on, I think, more than or at least half of his snaps, or at least just over half, something like that.
Yeah.
He was double teamed.
So now you got a backup guard.
Yeah.
Right. And so which means, and this is where the strategy comes in, and you got to look at it this way, which means that guard is definitely going to get some help.
They're going to slide. They're going to do whatever they can.
I mean, somebody else got to eat. So today, because of that, I still think Jalen Carter's going to get his. I'm still marking him down for 2 sacks.
So who's that guy then? Who's that guy for you, right? You say, okay, they're going to definitely help this guard with Jalen Carter, right? So yes. Who's that guy for you? Are we looking at a big Milton Williams game, a big Moro Ojomo game, or a big Nolan game? Who's going to benefit the most from Jalen Carter taking on those double teams?
Well, take the ends out of it. Okay. Nolan Smith gonna do what Nolan Smith been doing.
That's true.
I don't think the guard being there and him getting help is really going to affect him, because that's the tackles man, right? But what you got to look at is Josh Sweat, Milt Williams, Ojomo, and possibly Oren Burks.
Because he had a good game against the Rams, by the way. Yes, he doesn't get talked about enough. He had a pretty good game.
But he didn't blitz often.
That's true.
So when you double team, that's the perfect time to blitz, because somebody's not accounted for. So you got to use them stunts and things of that nature. Like there was one play that I looked at. Jared Verse got a sack on Mekhi Becton. Jared Verse took one step upfield. Lane Johnson set, and then he went right inside, and he knocked Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton was off balance. He was looking inside, and he was literally chopping his feet, and just caught him on one foot and knocked him to his left, and then came in for that sack. I think that was the second time where we got knocked out of field goal range. And it was just a great play by Jared Verse. But it was a stunt. He twisted in. If you're looking inside and you're not expecting it, it's just like when somebody blindsides you. They ain't got to hit you that hard to knock you off your feet, because your body's not ready for that impact. That's exactly what happened. He came through there and he ended up getting Jalen Hurts for the sack and knocking us out of field goal range. So, and I'm saying that to say we're going to have those same opportunities, because somebody's going to be double teaming Jalen Carter. They're going to try to get him one-on-one just to see how the kid can hold up. But ain't nobody else been able to.
Do you expect that early in the game?
Yes. They're going to have to, because they got to find out what they got. Because that's true. The best thing they could do is if that backup some way, somehow can handle Jalen Carter one-on-one, that's golden. That's the optimal situation that Washington wants. They do not want to have to double team him every time, because that means now your center is busy, because the center has to come over and help. And then this is where you change things up. Well, what happens if the linebacker comes up and you sitting head up right on the center? What does the center do? Does he have to worry about that linebacker, or is he still helping on the double team? So it opens up a lot of avenues and stunts and different things like that. Don't be surprised if you see some delayed blitz. They walk up to the line, then they back up 3-4 yards, and on the snap they come, because they want to make it look like somebody's coming, they want to try to confuse the offensive line, and you got a backup in there. They can't show that backup everything in the week. You know what I'm saying? So it's very difficult for backups. That's why I was talking about Landon Dickerson playing center. If you ain't been in there all year, you're gonna see some things you just not used to.
Right. And it's the angles, whatever it is, like it's just a different position. It's like you ever driving, right? And you just happen to take a different route.
Different route.
And it's the same area, or you come across the same intersection you come across all the time, but the angle you're at, you're like, hold on, where the hell I'm at?
Hey, wait a minute. This don't look
angle,
right.
Right, but it's just the angle. You've crossed the intersection every day on your way home from work, but the angle is what's throwing you off. He's like, hold on, wait. Let me double check. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'd be like, where you been? You 5 minutes away. How come it took you so long?
Exactly. So I see what you're saying. When you think about just the idea, though, and because we're definitely going to get to this, we're definitely going to get to the offense. I know a lot of people want to talk about Jalen Hurts and how he's going to perform.
Yeah,
but when you think about the idea,
talk about that coach too.
Yes,
we'll get into that.
When you think about the idea of Vic Fangio being able to see a quarterback for a third time, most teams only see for a second time.
Yeah,
but if they're lucky, right? You know, it just so happens that throughout this Eagles playoff run, we've been very familiar with the teams we faced.
Yeah.
Green Bay played them in week 1. The Rams played them in week 12, and obviously the Washington is the divisional rival, so this is part 3 to that bout. There's a lot of familiarity here. When you think about the idea of Vic Fangio and his mad scientist mentality when it comes to defenses, when you think about that and him being able to see Jaden Daniels for a third time and see this offense, Cliff Kingsbury's offense for a third time, what do you anticipate him doing to offset what they do successfully? You know, they spend a lot of time in the no huddle, and they go for it a lot on 4th down, right?
Yeah.
Just speak on the mentality that a DC goes through when he sees that guy for a third time. Speak on the comfortability level. Like how familiar can a guy really get?
Well, this comes down to film study. So what they're gonna do is they're definitely gonna watch the games that we played, and then they're gonna watch the last 3 games, and then they're gonna watch the games where defenses did some good things against them. Right? So you just cherry pick what worked. Yes, they beat us, but they shouldn't have. We lost that game because the offense couldn't perform. Not, you know, the defense did what they were supposed to do. If we score on all the possessions that the defense gave us the ball, that's a different ball game. You know what I mean? So what I think they're going to concentrate on is trying to keep him in the pocket, trying not to let him get outside. They got to have a game plan for when Robinson and Eckler are on the field at the same time.
Real quick,
Eckler gutted us pretty good. Yeah.
Real quick though, you said they're going to try their best to keep him in that pocket and likely try to squeeze him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you expect a game where your edge rushers aren't really going to be, because over pursuing is a real thing?
Yes.
And are you essentially saying this defensive line won't put sacks as priority number 1? The priority is going to be to keep him contained first, and then take your shot when you can. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but look at some of Nolan Smith's sacks. Some of his sacks, he's beating the tackle because he's just so fast. He's not really taking a wide arc, or he's getting that bull rush. And you got to, you know, he goes up against a tackle with bad feet. So you can bull rush him and not have to worry about outside. So the attack is coming directly at you, not arced around. Usually when you arc around and get a sack, it's simply because the quarterback was looking in a different direction and just lost sight of you. And usually that's when you get the strip sacks, or they come from behind and get your arm back and you can't throw the ball or something like that. That's usually when that happens. But most of the time when quarterbacks have issues, Jalen Hurts has been dealing with this all year, is when the attack comes from up the middle. So you look at how they play Jalen Hurts. They call it the mush rush, the muddle rush, whatever you want to call it. Basically, what that means is the discipline has to be on the edge. So when the edge attacks, he cannot go deeper than the quarterback. That's what you want to happen. Does it happen like that all the time? No. But if you somewhere close to where if Jaden Daniels steps inside to try to run, and all Nolan Smith has to do is switch directions and shift the tackle and get a hand on him, that's enough to slow him down. That's enough he sees something, the quarterback sees something and wants to change direction. So it messes with his exit strategy. And then by the time he tries to change direction, that's when you got help coming. So the optimal thing, and it's not going to always work. Sometimes Jaden Daniels is going to make a play. Sometimes Jalen Hurts is going to make a play. Don't forget, when Jalen Hurts went for 44 last week, he did break a tackle.
That part.
So
he was looking like a running back out there.
Exactly. You're really not going to win that battle all the time, but you are going to win some of the time.
Right.
And the some of the time is what we see. You don't see somebody with 4 and 5 sacks every game. You see 1 or 2. And that all it takes is those 1 or 2 opportunities, get the guy in the grasp, get him down, and now you got 3rd and 13, 3rd and 15. That makes all the difference in the world. I'd rather have 3rd and 7 than 3rd and 2 because it changes the whole game plan. And the other side of that is you already know Washington is going to be going on 4th down.
Right.
So the defense has got to be tight for 4 downs. It's going to be that type of game.
Yeah, and I think another thing is, like you said, Jaden Daniels is a really good quarterback. He's going to get you here and there. He's going to get you. Don't get frustrated on those third down conversions or those 3rd down conversions or those 4th down conversions. Right, stay in it, because you will get your opportunity. I think that's going to be really important for this defense, right, to not lose discipline in those situations that can cause for high frustration, right? Giving up a 4th and 8, right, or a 3rd and 1, well, whatever it is, right? You have to stay in it because he's the kind of quarterback that he's going to get his somehow, some way. You just got to make it difficult. Let's transition to his offense, though, right? Let's start with the quarterback position, Jalen Hurts. We know Jalen Hurts entering this game. He's been nursing a knee injury since that Rams matchup on the left knee. And then even Dallas Goedert has been nursing an ankle, and Cam Jurgens has been nursing a back injury. Now, we all expect Cam Jurgens and Dallas Goedert to play. Jalen Hurts, he's definitely going to play. I think the biggest question mark surrounding this offense this week since that Rams game has been Jalen Hurts' mobility and what to expect from him in the run game and how effective can he be, and will the Washington Commanders ultimately sell out to stop Saquon and force Jalen Hurts to make a decision? When you factor in all those variables, how do you see Jalen Hurts entering this game? What's your confidence level in his health and him being able to impact this game the way we know he can?
They're going to have to test him early because we need to see. And I'm not expecting him to go 40 yards again. What I am expecting, though, is to him to pull that ball and go around the edge and get 5 or 6 yards, get positive yards. If he can do that, that's all we need. I don't need him to go 30 yards for a touchdown. That's gravy if it happens. Mm-hmm. But all I need him to do is move the chains. If he can move the chains with his feet, that's all we need.
I was just going to ask you. So just if he can prove that, he can move the chains with his legs. Forget 15, 20, 30-yard explosive. What we need to be looking for as spectators of the Eagles, what we need to be looking for is, can he continue to get those 4, 5, 6-yard chunks? So you're saying that's enough to keep Washington honest.
Correct. But the thing that concerns me about Jalen Hurts is I still need him to get on the ground. And I don't know how he's going to slide with that knee brace. Because when you slide, you got to put your knee in a certain position. And I don't know if he's comfortable doing that, because when your knee hurts, it's basically you got to fold onto your knee. So is he going to be able to slide? Which brings the concern. Obviously he's going to be trying to get out of bounds, but if he's in traffic and your knee is hurt, your instincts is going to tell you to go head first. So that's how he got in that situation in the first place when he got the concussion. Right. So that's something that I don't think people are thinking about. So I want to see if he can slide. I don't know if that's something that he practiced. because you can jack up your knee sliding. You know what I mean? So I just want him to be able to pull the ball and get around that end, because all you got to do is make the linebackers respect that you're going to do that.
So you anticipate on the first drive, you think the Eagles are going to let them know, hey, you got to respect them still. I
would
think
hope
that's
so.
I think that's something you have to do early to kind of set the tone. Even if, like you said, 5 yards, 6 yards there, make them respect that he's going to get positive yards and he can convert with those legs still.
I don't necessarily think it might happen in the first drive. If it does, that's great. But I think they're going to test to see how they're going to guard Saquon first.
Bingo. Because the one thing I keep hearing about this Washington defense that I've seen for myself actually is, and you told me this as well, and I heard Dan Orlovsky say this, right? And I love the way I love the way he expressed this. I love the analogy. He said, if I'm the Eagles offense, I'm playing this game on the sidewalk. And basically what he's trying to say is Washington can be had outside the numbers. They can be had on the edges.
Yes.
They are very, very weak in terms of containing and stopping the run on the edges.
Yes.
But then now you factor in that they lost Deron Payne in this game. Deron Payne is not going to play. He's their best defensive lineman, arguably, right? When you factor that in as well, it's like, okay, now not only can they be had on the edges, but they can probably be had on the interior, because we don't know how good that guy that they brought in is going to be. Supposedly he's some second round rookie that they drafted. Who knows?
Right.
But it's going to be really interesting to see how Saquon is utilized to attack Washington's weaknesses, in particular on the edges, because that Lions game, it was case in point. You told me about it. I went back and saw it. It was obvious. I saw Jahmyr Gibbs getting whatever he wanted, and quite frankly, the only reason they lost that game is because of turnovers. If you ask me,
exactly,
turnovers,
exactly, and because they got down so fast, they had to go to throwing the ball.
But I also think they panicked too. I think they panicked. I mean, you throwing it with Jameson, when they panicked. You weren't. It was still plenty of time left in the game for you to make some plays. I mean, you weren't down to the point when you had to give up on your running game so much, and you earned the Lions. That is, you put up over 200 rushing yards on this Washington defense. If the Lions offense did that, what do you think Saquon is going to do?
Bro, I did not understand that at all. I did not understand that Jahmyr Gibbs was gutting them. I did a whole video on outside zones.
He was averaging like 10 yards a carry.
Boy, he was killing them. He was killing them. So I'm like, I've been pulling my hair out all this time about this. Y'all hear me? If you follow my streams, you know I'm throwing phones and shoes and all
every game, y'all. Listen, every game.
Run him outside.
Coach,
just get him to tackle and outside, bro.
Every game. I don't think people understand because we correspond throughout the games, right? Every game, y'all. OG always texts me and say, "Yo, run outside. They can be had there. Why do we keep trying to force it up the middle? Why?"
You don't have to do it all the time. An outside run is the same as a play action pass for a pass. You force the linebackers to move out of their spot. They got to chase. When you think about it like this, when you run up the middle, linebackers attack.
North-south, yeah.
Yes. When you run outside, they got to chase. And it sets up the offensive line's blocks a hell of a lot better. And the one thing I noticed when I watched that Detroit and Washington game, Jahmyr Gibbs on, I want to say 75% of his carries, Jahmyr Gibbs was getting the ball 5 and 6 yards deep. So that means he got plenty of time to see where he needs to go, to adjust, make a cutback. When you 5 yards deep and you going towards the line of scrimmage, not left, not east and west, when you going towards the line of scrimmage downhill and you still 5 yards deep and the ball is in your hands, that is a whole lot of time for you to decipher which way you got to go. That's the benefit of a zone read. If you got to bounce, cut it back, hit the hole, doesn't matter.
And Saquon's touchdowns, if you notice last week's game in the snow, Saquon's touchdowns came on some outside runs, both of them.
Absolutely.
He was able to bounce outside. The last one,
well, also, but don't forget, he lured him in. He lured him in.
Yes.
Look at that last touchdown. And this is a
he bounced
running
it. You're
back.
right.
Look at the technique he used, though. This is a running back technique.
He squared up.
His shoulders was still square, and he bounced. and it went north and south again. But what he did was
That
he
shit was
hit
art,
that hole
Marcus.
on the inside shade of the tackle. The linebackers bounced inside. So when he bounced out, there was nobody out there to get him. He just
And that speed just takes over.
There you go.
Marcus. Watching Saquon play the running back position is poetry.
He's a master.
It's art. You know, it's like a symphony, man. When every instrument is just working in concert with this offensive line. I mean, dog. This, first of all, before I even continue to wax poetic about this, brother, as of today, Saquon is ranked 4th on the all-time list of most scrimmage yards in the season, including the playoffs. He has 2,638 total yards from scrimmage. He's behind Terrell Davis, Marshall Faulk, and then Terrell Davis again. He's only 125 scrimmage yards away from passing Davis for the all-time scrimmage yards in the season. He's going to break the scrimmage yards record, and he's going to break the rushing record. He's going to get those numbers today. It's a foregone conclusion.
Remember we talked about this? What did I tell you about when everybody was talking about they should play him for Dickerson's record? What did I tell you the mark that he should be after?
You said this is the real record. You said this is the winner's record.
Terrell Davis is the only 2,000-yard rusher with a Super Bowl ring. That's the mark we looking for. I give a damn about. I love Eric Dickerson as a running back. He was one of the best ever. But he ain't sniff a Super Bowl. We got a chance to get that Super Bowl. And if I remember correctly, he was the MVP of that game. With John Elway, he was the MVP. Mm-hmm. So even a Hall of Fame quarterback like John Elway knows the benefit of running the ball.
Even Shannon Sharp, when he was talking about it, he said, listen, because at first he was skeptical, but after I ran the game, he said, listen, look at the numbers, man. When we had TD, look at the numbers.
Couldn't stop him.
If you can't stop TD, what's the point? Why are we going to throw it? Why? You can't stop TD. We don't care. You can't stop TD. You can't stop Terrell Davis. And when you got a guy like Saquon at the helm, and that's why it kind of blows my mind when people try to criticize Jalen Hurts for the passing numbers and things like that. But the thing is, though, he's been an efficient passer all year long. Completion percentage, career high. Passer rating, career high. Right. Yards per attempt, on par with his career high in 2022. I mean, he's been very potent in the passing game. But like when you got a guy like Saquon Barkley on the roster, who's doing what he's been doing and how electric he is and how much of a home run hitter he is, you have to feed that. You got to feed that. I don't understand why people try to overcomplicate this game sometimes. When you got a guy like that, you shouldn't even be talking about what the quarterback doing or not doing. You got to feed that man.
Everybody gets caught in that nonsense, man. I just looked it up. Terrell Davis was named Super Bowl 32 MVP with 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's the mark I want. Eric Dickerson, you can keep your all-time regular season record. I want that Super Bowl. I want to have only the second running back in NFL history to have over 2,000 yards at the Super Bowl ring. That's what I want. That's the record that I want. The hell with the rest of the stuff. This is more important. That's why everybody that said he should have went for the record, I understand why. I also understand why he shouldn't. Because Murphy's Law says, and you can just look at all the other teams that played their starters in that last game where they didn't have to. It's a lot of teams that was an expensive game for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and lucky for us, we not in that situation. So he's rested. He ain't never been here. He's excited. He is the closest he's ever been to a Super Bowl. And the only thing they got to do is the same thing they've been doing all year, and nobody stopped them. So I'm like, hey, again, I'll say it again. You're not going to become a good run defense in a week. I don't care what Joe Witt says. And we can tackle that because I heard that and I was like, okay, I understand what you're doing, coach.
Yeah. Break that down for me because when I heard it, I'm like, because look, I never played the game on that level before. So I'm trying my hardest to put myself in his shoes and just think about his perspective, right? And Man, listen, sometimes when these guys are talking to the media, they're also trying to send a message to their team as well, right? But
that's what it is.
it just felt like it felt redundant. It felt almost like, well, I don't expect anything less from you, coach. It just felt like unnecessary fodder. And
Well,
look, and look, the Eagles are self-motivated. They don't need bulletin board material. Like
exactly.
and to
me, that's a chink in the armor.
Yeah, I loved what Mailata and Lane Johnson had to say about it.
I didn't hear that. What they say?
I'm going to paraphrase, but Mailata basically said, "Listen, quite frankly, we don't really give a fuck what people say outside of this building."
I did hear that. I didn't realize that was his response to it.
Okay. Yeah, he said honestly, we really don't care. That doesn't move. That doesn't make or break anything. He said, "Listen, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry for cursing. But I'm sorry. That's genuinely how I feel." Like,
what did LJ say?
And then Lane Johnson was like, "Listen, emotion doesn't win football games. Execution does."
Facts.
When he said that, I was like,
"Facts.
Let's go to war."
But listen, I ain't mad at Coach Witt for what he said, because what he did that for was to set the tone for his defense, and I get that. So the first thing I thought was, so if you don't want your quarterback to get hit like a running back, keep him in the pocket. That's what he said. And I'm thinking, as opposed to what?
Right.
What the hell has been happening to Jalen Hurts all season? They've been hitting him like a running back. Stop playing. The reason why he got a concussion because they was hitting him like a running back. This ain't nothing new.
I think he low key put a target on his defense back. I think them refs now are going to be watching really close now.
He did, but he didn't. I think he gave the green light. Go ahead and make the hard hit. So he just guaranteed that it's going to be a physical game. I'm good with that, and people can read between the lines, and I'm fine with that. But here's the problem. Your quarterback in the same position.
Exactly. And also, when you have a linebacker who got fined for 2 different plays in the same game, and Frankie Louvu, who I think he was a second team All-Pro this year, or an All-Pro this year, he had a really good season. Or a Pro Bowl, I can't remember which one. But when you have a guy like Frankie Louvu who plays the way he plays, who plays to the edge, the razor's edge, and he got fined for 2 separate things in the same game, and then your coach comes out and says that, I find it hard to believe that these refs aren't going to be keyed in on that defense and making sure they're playing within the lines here.
They absolutely will. That's the negative part of what he said and how he said it. I understand what he was trying to do, but it comes with some causality. You put that out there, so now the NFL is going to be looking. So now Louvu might be in the same situation as CJ Gardner-Johnson was the last game. So who knows? But he put it out there. A lot of people are going to take it as he put a hit out. I didn't. But I understand why people can see it that way. And let's not forget, Jaden Daniels is 1 hit away from having barbecue ribs again anyways. So you put your own, if you're going to hit our quarterback, what the hell you think we're going to do to yours? The same stuff. And guess what? I was like, okay, coach, treat our quarterback, treat Jalen Hurts like a running back when you got the 24th best run defense in the league. You go ahead and do that. Your running defense, that's not the fight that you want to take right now with your run defense. But if you want to treat us like a run back and you rank 24th out of 32, we can roll with that.
See what happens when you don't really know your team, man. Yeah. See what happens when, I love putting people on Front Street. I love it, man. You got a lot of people who claim they fans of their team. They see every play, watch every snap, but how can you not know your own guy was fined? Twice, actually, in the same game. He said, "Oh, that just happened." This got released yesterday. What are you talking about? This got released yesterday. like it was revealed that he got fined yesterday. This article just came out this morning. But if you locked in as much as you locked in, Mr. Hart, you would know that your man got fined yesterday. This came across yesterday, but nonetheless, man, it's just cute. Sometimes I like to do this, man. Sometimes I like to do this.
It is what it is, man. But at the end of the day, you hit our quarterback, we gonna smash your quarterback. That's the way it go. So honestly, I don't think, and because they are looking at it, the refs are going to have a quick flag for situations like that. So it's going to take one person to do that and get the unsportsmanlike or get the personal foul. And then when you, just like CJ, next thing you know, you walk into the locker room and you don't know what happened. So, just play the game like you've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get your opportunity to put hands on Jaden Daniels. When you get that opportunity, just put hands on him. Get him down to the ground and do what you got to do. That's all we got to do. All our defense needs to do is keep playing like they've been playing. And I mentioned it before, and I want to revisit that. Vic Fangio has got to do a better job with Austin Eckler, because I think he's a factor. Obviously, Brian Robinson, the way he ran last time, but there was a few times when Eckler and Robinson was in the game at the same time. And, they either, I think that's basically like an RPO. They, based on what the defense gives you, they're either going to hand it off or he's going to throw that screen to Eckler. And Eckler played pretty good last time. But we have shown that we are ready for situations like that. Vic Fangio has shown, and to your point about having a third opportunity to go against this guy, there's going to be some things that he missed the last two games, and they're going to pick up on. So it's good that we got another opportunity. And this time, this is an opportunity to say, let's leave no doubt who the better team was.
That's a very good point. Getting back to the offensive side, there's a guy who hasn't really had his best playoff campaign this year. And that's AJ Brown, right? Devontae Smith, it's been very modest for him as well. A lot of people have had their concerns about this Eagles passing game. And I know you and I talk about it. Listen, if you can't stop the run, why would I do anything else? You can't stop it. I know I got guys out there, but you can't stop the run. Why would I overcomplicate this? But AJ Brown, even when he had the opportunities in that Rams game and he led the team in targets, a lot of people act like he wasn't getting looked at. He had 7 targets in that game. He had 7 targets, and he only made out with 2 of them, and he dropped a couple of them. So when you put all of that into perspective, what's your thought process on AJ Brown and Devontae Smith's impact in this game? Because my mindset has always been, look, regardless if we throwing the ball or not, and regardless if you have confidence in Jalen Hurts or not, I don't care what your feelings are, because I'm not looking to change your mind. But whatever your feelings are about Jalen Hurts are irrelevant. The bottom line is, you still got to defend AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert on a snap-to-snap basis. That's not an easy proposition. So what's your thoughts on those 3 guys, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith? What's your thought process on their impact in this game?
I think Dallas and Devontae will be fine. My concern is with AJ Brown, because I think AJ Brown's knee is hurting more than he's letting on.
I agree.
I don't think he's getting separation like he normally gets because of the knee. I don't know why he dropped that ball. If he catches that ball on the goal line, we're probably not having this conversation.
He almost double catched it. It's like he caught it and then tried to secure it and then it just slipped.
Yeah. Stuff like that worries me, because when you see stuff like that, and I'm probably putting more into it than there needs to be.
Okay.
But if you've ever seen somebody catch a ball and try to make a move and something's hurt and they get that shock of pain and the body stops. So you catch a ball and then try to do something that's painful and then you just drop the ball or whatever it is you're doing, everything, the body just pulls an emergency brake. That's what I think happened when when they ran that play and Jalen tried to roll out to his left and immediately went down. They got a sack on that one. He immediately went down. I was like, it looked like he did something with his knee, and the knee was like, nope. Yeah. So it could be, I don't know. But at the end of the day, you still got to get him the ball. I think there's no reason why AJ Brown should have anywhere less than 5 targets per game. And in my opinion, 3 of those targets should be quick slants.
How much stock do you put into the lay of the land, the terrain in that snow, guys? Like, for example, like you said, right, Jalen Hurts, he took that sack. Like there were moments in that game where you would expect him to try to escape, but you don't want to plant and slip and kind of make things worse than what they really are health-wise. And then AJ Brown, like how much stock did you put into that snow game and guys just not wanting to make a dangerous move or a cut in that weather, right? in terms of the injured knee or whatever, because both players are dealing with a knee.
Yeah, it's that probably has something to do with it because you have a tendency, especially on turf, or really on any surface, but especially on turf. But grass comes into play because it all depends on how cold it is outside. Because that when the grass is going to be soft, but that turf underneath, if that freezes up, that's pretty hard. But normally anybody, and this is your mind not playing tricks on you, but self-preservation is the first law of nature, which is why when it snows outside and it's a little bit slippery, you can't run full speed. It's very hard to if you consciously try to run full speed, your body's not going to let it happen because subconsciously your brain is doing calculations like, hey, you shouldn't be going this fast because if you continue to speed up, you'll end up on your ass.
Right.
Have you ever noticed that? You take one step and you realize it's icy. What do? You short step it.
Yeah.
You take
instinctually.
Same thing on the field. Your stride is not as long. You chop your steps a little bit more so you don't get your top speed as much as usual. Now, you look at somebody like when Saquon broke those long runs, you go full tilt, and then when you get to that second level, then the stride starts getting longer, then you outrun everybody because now you're a little bit more comfortable. But I do think there's something to that where he was, short striding it and couldn't get his top speed on top of whatever pain he may be going through. So, but at the end of the day, I still want to see him on a quick slant. I still want to see him get the ball in his hands because I still think he's the force that the Washington Redskins, the Washington Commanders ain't ready for. So they got to still throw him the ball, still throw him the quick slants. My biggest concern for the offense is Kellen Moore going to continue to try to run the ball inside every damn play? And if it's 3rd and 3, are we still dropping back and passing and waiting for these 10-yard routes to develop?
The film was there though. I don't see how you can continue to just bang your head, up the middle when the film is there that this team is very susceptible on the edges. I have a hard time believing like that would really blow my mind.
Listen, I will be my level of frustration will be ridiculous if we start doing the same stuff again, especially after watching all of the tape and everything. To me, that would be similar to what happened last year against Tampa Bay in the playoffs. Everybody knew that Todd Bowles was going to blitz, and it looked like we were not prepared for it. You cannot do that. You've seen the tape. You know what works. You got to implement plays that work. And if you are going to continue to run from gun formation, you have got to block the backside edge. You have to do that, especially when your running back is going east and west, because he has to go east and west, and then you taking 2 steps to the left or to the right before you even look at going forward. So that's 2 steps that edge or another defender can get closer to you and get hands on you. That's why I don't like so much out of that gun formation. If we run and going for gun formation, we got to get outside. But even then, I would still rather be in ace formation or pistol. So it all depends on how Kellen Moore is going to implement this. You can run some of them outside sweeps out of pistol formation. You ain't got to be in gun formation. That's a choice. So, and I think gun formation is going to force them linebackers up. And if they do bring 8 men in the box, that means you got a single high safety. That means he got to make a decision. He's either going to go to his left or go to his right. So I expect Jalen Hurts to be able to read that and make the pass, but we got to have, it's got to be complementary. So Kellen Moore is my biggest concern because of what I've seen during the year. We can't keep trying to plug it up the middle. Even that last game, we was doing the same thing. Like, dude, you got to spread out and figure out a different way. So we've seen the answer to the question. We just got to write it down.
I feel you on that, man. Here's the thing, right? Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to both channels. We are live on 2 channels. We're live on Pro Fan Talks YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go subscribe and smash the like button over there. Also, make sure you guys subscribe and smash the like button here at Chalk It Up Sports, at the Chalk It Up Network. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys for locking in the way you guys have been. It's been a hell of a show. We have over 700 people tuned into this live stream right now, Marcus. It's pretty cool to see. So make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. That like button, it's currency. It's the lifeblood of this YouTube space. So make sure you guys stay on the right side of history and continue to support the channel by simply hitting that like button. Simple as that, man. Very easy to do. Takes no effort. Maybe some of you guys are listening passively. Maybe you guys are doing multiple things at once. But when you get that opportunity, make sure you guys hit that like button. And if you're watching us on the big screen, we appreciate you guys even more. All you gotta do is smash that like button on the way in, and make sure you smash that like button on the way out, man. So we appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. You know, one matchup that I'm going to be watching in this game, Marcus, I'm going to be watching that AJ Brown, Marshawn Lattimore matchup.
Yeah.
You know, Marshawn Lattimore, you know, I don't think he's the same player that he was with the Saints, but he's still a corner that you can rely on.
Yeah, he's still good.
Yeah, it's still very good. When you think about that matchup, him and AJ Brown, knowing AJ Brown was kind of dealing with a bum knee a little bit, do you still think this is a matchup that AJ Brown can take advantage of as far as out physicaling him?
Absolutely. All we need to do is get the ball in his hands. And I see somebody in the chat saying Lattimore is reportedly not playing today. I had not heard that.
Get out of here. That can't be true.
Yeah, we have to vet that.
That can't be true.
But yeah, I think he can take advantage of it. Listen, man, all we got to do is get the ball in his hands, and eventually he's going to break a tackle. So, you know, we're going to win some and we're going to lose some. Let's just make sure we win more than we lose. And I'm not used to seeing AJ Brown drop balls. Hopefully that was a one-off last week, and he can get back to the play and the spectacular catches that we know him for. But listen, his bread and butter is that quick slant up the middle, and he can make somebody miss and make a 5-yard pass turn into a 15, 20-yard splash play. So that's where AJ Brown makes his money, man. So, you know, every now and then we take 1 or 2 deep shots. But again, business as usual. Business as usual. Doesn't matter who's guarding him. Because to me, you know, I'm looking for Devontae Smith to have a get back game. He dropped that ball and he shouldn't have. You know, so I think everybody. I'm not sure what we're gonna get from Dallas Goedert. Are we gonna still get him involved, or is it gonna be more a Calcaterra? The Dallas Goedert's ankle bothers me more for his blocking ability, because our tight ends have not been good with blocking this year. So that's my concern in that situation. I know he can still catch the ball. So, but it all depends on what Kellen Moore's got drawn up this week, man.
Yeah, it definitely will. It definitely will come down to that at the end of the day. Also, by the way, I'm not saying anything about Marshawn Lattimore. So yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, of course, I'm not paying that too much mind. But regardless, though, yeah, man, you're right. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to execution. You know, all the rah-rah, all the emotion. Listen, you know, it's going to come down to execution at the end of the day. Which team makes the least amount of mistakes? Which team takes advantage of opportunities? Which team is able to dominate time of possession and dictate the terms of engagement? I'm sorry. I look at the Eagles team from top to bottom, and I look at this Commanders team from top to bottom, and I say to myself, the Eagles should win this game.
Yeah.
The Eagles should win this game. Like this is one of those games where the result will be solely dictated by what the Eagles do and don't do. That's honestly how I feel about this game, man. Look, I have a lot of respect for my opponent. I have a lot of respect for what the Commanders have built thus far and what they've been able to accomplish. But I'm sorry, the ride ends here. It ends here, right? So I'm glad you guys were able to enjoy your time at the Hard Rock. You know, that's cute. That's cute. You know what I mean?
Hey, Tone, let me read this. Let me go down this list real quick.
Do your thing, brother. Where we at?
I'm looking at our schedule, the regular season.
Okay.
And week 1 against the Packers. Supposed to be a tough game. And for the most part, it was. Week 3 against the Saints. That was supposed to be a tough game. Week 8 against the Bengals. The Bengals were supposed to upset us. You see how that turned out?
Yeah. Let's rather say, because I think all those games had their own version of toughness. Let's just say we were supposed to lose that game. We were supposed to be threatened in that game, right?
I'm not even going to talk about the Cowboys. Week 12 against the Rams. They were on that Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford thing again. And then the big one, week 13 versus the Ravens. The Ravens were supposed to thump us. They were supposed to thump us. They got the biggest and best running back in the league. I think at that particular time, King Henry had the lead in the rushing at that time, and their defense was playing well. And you see what happened with that.
They even tried to say Pittsburgh was going to give us a hard time. They even tried to say that.
Steelers was supposed to give us a hard time. The Commanders was much better. We lost that game, but we lost that game because Devontae Smith drops the pass that lets us ice the game. So we've had plenty of opportunities to come across these teams that are supposed to beat us.
Right. Supposed to expose something. Like
but defense wins championships.
And that's one of two things that travels no matter what. Your running game and your defense. Those things travel more than anything in football. Your defense and your running game. And like you said earlier, your defense doesn't get better over the course of a week. For the most part, at this point in the season, your defense is what it is. Now you're just trying to scheme things up, and you're preying on better execution from your guys. But the reality is, this Eagles defense is exactly what we know them to be, and that Commanders defense is exactly what I know them to be. I mean, again, seeing how that defense performed on the road in Detroit against that Lions offense, I'm looking at them like, oh, y'all are food. Y'all are food, especially in the run game. I mean, I would take the Eagles offensive line over the Lions offensive line. And Saquon Barkley, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is on his way. I think next season you got to call Jahmyr Gibbs a top 5 running back in his league.
Absolutely.
But Saquon is top 5, and he's not 5, he's not 4, he's not 3, he's not 2. So I'll let y'all do the math on that. He's not, so it's like this is just going to be a very interesting game to watch and to see how Washington handles the Eagles' rush attack, because a lot of teams every week. There's always somebody saying, hey, expect this team to sell out against the run. Expect this team to really, give this Eagles run offense a run for its money. You've heard it. We've heard it week after week after week after week of what some opponent is supposed to do to our run offense. And lo and behold, you got Saquon Barkley, who's about to break the all-time rushing and scrimmage yard record for an NFL season. It's going to be really exciting. So let's get to these super chats. Then we're going to get to our keys to the game, to kind of summarize everything we've talked about, get to our bold predictions, and then our score predictions. Then we're getting out of here. So we appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. Make sure you guys are also subscribed to the good brother, Coach Markus at Pro Fan Talk. He does amazing work covering your Philadelphia Eagles. Man, we've been doing this for many, 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 many moons. This season, man, it's been a hell of a ride, and I can't wait to talk about why the Eagles won this game with you, brother. I really can't. So
yeah, man, I had to don the jersey today, bro. This is my jersey.
Yeah, you're not really a jersey guy.
I'm not.
You're not a jersey guy.
But I had to. This is my jersey that I got from the Eagles. They gave. I think this was like one of the first times that we did the alumni on the field at halftime thing, and they gave us all jerseys. The new midnight green jerseys. I still got my original away jersey, but that thing don't fit no more. So, but yeah, I only wear this for the important games, man. So it'll be this week. And then if we, if we handle business and we in the Super Bowl, I'm gonna wear it again. So let's get it on and popping.
For sure. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Pro Fan Talk. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Chalk It Up Network. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. And by the way, you guys, smash that like button. And shout out to our guy, Carlos Rosado. With the $2 super chat. He said, Coach, salute, game day, belt to ass. Let's get it.
To ass. Yes, sir.
I love it. I love it, Carlos. I love it, man. We appreciate you for locking in the way you do, man. Really appreciate you. And if you guys want to donate to the channel, all you got to do is submit a super chat. Very easy to do. No pressure, but hey, every little bit helps, right? So make sure you guys continue to support. Smash that like button and donate when you can. And also, by the way, on the Chalk It Up Network, we have finally started our memberships. So you guys can support the channel in other ways as well, getting yourself a membership. We have one tier out right now. Starts at $2.99 a month. So if you guys want to continue to support, you could check out those. You could check out the membership. We have exclusive badges for our members. We have exclusive emojis, right? Member shout outs, things of that nature. I want to give a shout out to my first member, Sweet Chin Music. Sweet Chin Music became a member yesterday. So shout out to my guy, Sweet Chin Music for becoming a member to the Chalk It Up Network. All right. Thank you, Carlos, for the super chat. Ellen Small with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Ellen. She says, just like Barkley took it to the Giants, I would love to see Dotson get a TD. That'd be cool.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
I didn't think about that not one time. But Dotson so far has been a contributor in the postseason. He caught the first touchdown of the playoffs for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's assisted. And I know for him, this is the kind of game where he would love to win this game.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely
expect Jahan Dotson to be running those routes extra crispy. You know what I mean? Extra crispy.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Ellen for the super chat. And our guy William Johnson with the $20 super chat. Thank you, William. We appreciate you. He says, "What's up, fellas? Do y'all think the national media is constant bashing of Jalen Hurts this week is to set up the narrative that he wasn't a big factor if he wins the chip?" That's a good question. Listen, it's funny
everybody's gonna pounce on it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because Jalen Hurts is always the talk of the town, no matter how much he succeeds in his role for the Philadelphia Eagles. And quite frankly, it's clear who most people want to win this game. I was even talking to my wife about it, and I was like, "Yo, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of people really don't like the Eagles, and they really don't want them to win this game." She said, "Yo, I thought I was tripping when I noticed it. Like, it just seems like everybody don't want the Eagles to win this game." Yeah. I'm like, I know, and that's why it's going to be even more disappointing when we do win it.
That's the national narrative because you got so many people that always come up with an excuse. The way Jalen Hurts is passing, they're never going to go far in the playoffs. The way Jalen Hurts is passing, they're never going to make it to the Super Bowl. The way they always keep moving the goalposts. They weren't going to make it to the playoffs. Then they weren't going to make it to the conference championship. Then they weren't, if he continues to do what they've been doing, and it's like ignoring the fact of Saquon Barkley has been the man the whole time. And every now and then you can stick something in there where Jalen Hurts will throw for 225 or 250. So you take it as you get it. And again,
right.
I done said it like 3 times a day. If Devontae Smith and AJ Brown catch those passes, we are not even having this conversation. So
yeah,
they be talking about how do they stop AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley. But y'all go ahead and do that.
I feel like you still got to talk about that. How do you stop AJ Brown? How do you stop Devontae Smith? Like, I feel like we have guys where you have to really say, okay, we have guys that can really impact this game. Yes. You know what I mean? Think about Dallas Goedert, when his screen pass got called back because Mekhi Becton was down the field in that Rams game. I mean, you have guys that can really who are game breakers, physical specimens. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I try not to buy into the national to the national jargon. I made it very clear that it doesn't matter what Jalen Hurts does. There are people who've already made their minds up about him.
Facts.
They feel how they feel. So at this point, you can't expect those people to change their minds. You got to just move on, accept it for what it is, continue to support your guy, and roll with the punches. It's just that simple. Thank you, William, for the super chat. We appreciate you. Our guy Warv, what's good, buddy? With the super chat, he says the X factors. His X factors for the game are Milton Williams and Oren Burks. I like that because those guys will likely benefit. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier, right? The Jalen Carter double teams. Those guys will likely benefit from Jalen Carter having to take on double teams throughout the game. But
I think it's going to be a Milt Williams kind of day.
Yeah, and let's be honest, you can't double team Jalen Carter all day. We talked about it earlier. The Rams double teamed him 50% of the time, damn near, and he still did what he did. So when you put that in perspective, and you got a backup guard out there, he is Jalen Carter. Listen, what Shaq you say back in the day? Barbecue chicken. Barbecue chicken. It's just that simple. But you're right, Milton Williams, he's been on a tear this year. Oren Burks had a really strong game against the Rams. And you talked about it, Coach, right? You said, let's see how Oren Burks looks with a 4-week practice with the ones.
There you go.
And you saw it, and he was able to impact that game, especially on the last drive. I think he had a tackle for loss on that last drive, and in a big spot, too. So shout out to Oren Burks for that, man. So, yeah, I agree with you. Milton Williams and Oren Burks are going to be guys you want to watch in this game to see how they impacted, how they beat their one-on-ones. Thank you for the super chat, Worf. Frank Rice with the super chat. Thank you. He says, we're a better team up and down. Let's hunt.
Yes, sir.
I need weapon next to leads out the tunnel. Hey, did you see Brian Dawkins' hype video?
Yeah, I did.
That's a hype video for your ass.
Yes, sir.
Listen, all love and respect to Shady McCoy, but Weapon X, it's a different animal.
Yeah,
different animal, man.
He elicits a different type of tone. But exactly. we got Mr. Philly himself, Nick Foles is the captain today.
Yeah, honorary captain. So shout out to him.
I ain't mad at that.
I ain't mad at it either. It's so funny. You mentioned earlier that they tried to decorate the Rocky statue with their commander's gear, right?
Yeah.
I saw this graphic of every time a team tried to desecrate our Rocky statue with their gear. And every time we've held those teams to, I believe, 10 points or less, and we've smoked them. So the history isn't great. That Rocky statue is cursed for opposing
just
teams.
Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Get you a cheesesteak, enjoy Philadelphia, but don't do nothing that stupid.
Just leave it alone.
Don't put nothing on the Rocky statue, and don't sing
your
fight.
It's too late.
And don't sing your fight song on the art museum steps. Remember when Minnesota did that?
They did that skull chant. It's too late.
Yeah,
it's too late. They've done it already.
Around and find out.
What's done is done. The curse has already been laid. It's too late. You know what I mean? I'm not the most superstitious guy, but damn, a trend is a trend.
Man, don't poke the bear.
A trend is a motherfucking trend.
Don't poke the bear.
Shout out to my man Frank Rice, man. I feel you on that. Brian Dawkins is the man. That's how you motivate the people, man. Shout out to Weapon X and shout out to Nick Foles as well. All right, and then we got Ish Julian Khan.
Ish
with the super chat. He says, "I got the game plan. Slants to AJ. Don't be surprised when Dotson gets 2 touchdowns. Everyone against the Eagles. When it
storms all over,
when it storms, all the other birds take shelter, but an eagle flies over the storm."
Okay. I like it, Ish. I like it, Ish.
I like that, Julian. I like that, Khan. I like that, brother. Thank you for the super chat. And hey, you may be on something, man. All Jalen Hurts got to do is drop back, do his job, man. Find an open guy and deliver the pill. You know, but trust me, trust me. Like when you got a team that's one of the worst run defenses in football, I mean, this isn't even like a
don't
mystery.
Get cute. Run the ball.
You really don't gotta get cute. I'm looking at the team stats for the Washington as far as their run defense goes. They have the 30th ranked run defense. They're giving up 4.9 yards a carry, which is 30th in the league. They're giving up 138.9 yards per game. That's 30th in the league. And then when you think about what they've done over the course of the past 2 playoff games as far as defending the run, they were able to how do you say they were able to limit Tampa Bay's running attack. They held them to 101 yards rushing, right, on 25 attempts. Granted, they still averaged 4 yards a carry. You can make an argument that Tampa Bay didn't lean in enough, but 25 attempts, 4 yards a carry given up to Tampa Bay, 101 total yards given up on the ground. Not a bad day at the end of the day. But that rushing per carry is what stands out to me. But then when you get to that Lions game, which is the real telltale sign to when they go up against an elite running game, which is what the Eagles have, that's something you can't ignore. They gave up over 200 rushing yards in that game on 23 rush attempts, averaging almost 9 yards a carry. So that's something that's not going to improve. That you are who you are. You are who you are.
And don't think that they didn't have a whole week preparing for Jahmyr Gibbs. They knew what he was coming with, and they still couldn't stop it. But the part of that we have to be able to take advantage of is because you got Jared Goff back there throwing the ball around. So I'm expecting, like we were talking about Jalen Hurts running. All I need is Jalen Hurts to get rid of the ball quickly. That's all he's got to do. And we can't do that if we keep running these schemes where all our receivers, the X and Y receivers, are running 10 and 15 yards down the field. There's got to be a route every play where somebody's coming across the field at about 5 to 10 yards. It's got to be something that he can hit quick. It's not always checkdowns. You know what I mean? So a lot of times we want to blame it on Jalen, and a lot of times it is his fault. But also, you got to understand that you practice your progressions. So you're going to do what you've been practicing to do. And check down is your last option. So a lot of times you're not even, it is very feasible that he didn't even see Dallas Goedert when he took that safety. Because Dallas Goedert is I don't know if, let me say it like this. I don't know if it was a screen or if I don't know Dallas Goedert was a check down. If it was a screen, then he should have got rid of the ball. If he was a check down, that means that Dallas Goedert is not even, Dallas Goedert might be the third or fourth read on a play like that. But at the end of the day, you don't call that at that location on the field. That's a Kellen Moore issue, in my opinion. So we got to have Jalen Hurts, when he does pass the ball, because he is going to have to throw, get rid of the ball quick. That's all we got to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And we got another super chat here from our guy, Chef Cook Skinner. He's our resident Commanders fan. He says, raise hell. Thank you for the super chat, my brother. Appreciate
Hey, Chef Cook,
for that.
If y'all win, talk your talk. I'll keep it 100. If y'all win, talk your talk.
For sure. But I mean, the ride ends here. The ride ends here, man. All right. So let's get to our keys to the game. Let's try to summarize what we discussed here today. Let's get to our bold predictions, then we get to our score predictions. So, Coach, based off everything we touched on today, what are your keys to the game for the Philadelphia Eagles? When the Philadelphia Eagles win this game, what will be the reasons why?
We will win the game because we are going to run off tackle and get Saquon Barkley. I'm expecting Saquon Barkley to have anywhere between 120 and 150 today. But we can't force the ball inside. We got to look at the Detroit tape and we got to follow suit. It's not that complicated. You find what works and you work it. Jalen Hurts, I'm expecting Jalen Hurts to throw at least one touchdown pass today. At least one touchdown pass. I think AJ is going to be okay, but I think Devontae is going to have the game today in the air. So I think Devontae is going to lead all receivers with passing yards today. On defense, like I mentioned earlier, I'm with Warv. This is a Milt Williams kind of day. I'm thinking with all of the attention that Jalen Carter is going to get, Jalen Carter's still going to get a sack. Matter of fact, let me say it like this. I got 3 sacks today. Jalen Carter, Milt Williams, and Nolan Smith. They all going to get one today. And somebody going to get a pick in that secondary. We cannot drop picks. We didn't get a chance to get into that today. We dropped 3 interceptions against the Rams. That game against the Rams should not have been that close.
Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, and Cooper DeJean on the final drive. They had them. They right in the bird basket.
I get nervous. When I saw Slay drop that pick, I was like, LA going to score. Because we gave them the opportunity, and that's exactly what happened. We got to capitalize on the opportunities we get to get our hands on the ball. That's what we got to do today. So,
yeah, I really couldn't agree with you more. So, does that fall into your bold predictions as well?
I'm 3 sacks and a pick today.
3 sacks and a pick today. I like that. That's actually on par with what the Eagles have done to Jaden Daniels. If we're being honest, every time they played him, they forced him to turn that ball over at least once. And I think over the course of the 2 games, the Eagles have forced a grand total of 5 turnovers, 6 turnovers, something like that. 6 turnovers because they forced 5 in that one game and they forced 1 in the other. So, they forced 6 turnovers playing that Commanders offense. So, again, I know Commanders fans like to pretend that didn't happen, but we know how to get the ball out of your hands for sure.
Facts.
One thing we definitely forgot to touch on real quick before we get out of here and we get to our score predictions is. What's your concern level with special teams, right? In particular, Jake Elliott.
Oof. Honestly, I'm like, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
I feel you, man. Isn't it funny how he's been making the clutch ones, but the extra points, the layups have been very.
Oh my god! And stuff like that.
He's been feast or famine.
The stuff like that is what makes the difference between a 2-score game and a 1-score game. You don't think about it until it happens. It's good until it ain't. You know what I mean? So hopefully we don't find ourselves in that situation. Hopefully when we kick off, we can kick the ball in the end zone so we don't give nobody an opportunity to return. And we can do what we need to do. So it is what it is with the kicking game. Let's just hope we're on the good side of it today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. as far as my bold predictions go, for me, I had some pretty bold ones these past couple weeks too. I know last week I said Saquon's going on for like 175 something like that, 150. He went for 200. I know the previous week before that, the Green Bay game, I said Jordan Love wouldn't finish the game.
Yeah.
But that was funny. But hey, listen. Regardless, though, he gave you 3 interceptions. So hey, he did his job. I think in this game, for me, my bold prediction is the Eagles defense holds that Commanders offense to under 20 points.
I like it.
They hold them to under 20 points. And another bold prediction that I have, I'm gonna go for it. I think Saquon goes for 200 again.
Nice.
I think
mad at that.
I think Saquon goes for 200 yards again. So Saquon goes for 200. The Eagles defense holds that Commanders team to 20 points or less. 20 points or less. That's my bold prediction, and that kind of goes in line with my score prediction. So my score prediction for this game, and I'm going to play the Razor's Edge, Marcus. I'm going to play the Razor's Edge. I think the Philadelphia Eagles win this game 31-20.
Okay. I got 30-17.
Okay. All right. So me and you are typically here with it.
Yeah.
We're typically here with it. So okay.
I got 30-17.
30-17 for you, 31-20 for me. All right. I'm rolling. Because again, right, this Eagles defense is not that Lions defense. Like, you're not going to put up 30 points in the first half on this defense. You're not. Vic Fangio was not going to let that happen. It's just that simple. So ultimately we'll see how this thing goes. We do got a few more super chats that came in, and we'll get to those, and then we'll close this thing out, man. Make sure you guys smash that like button. We appreciate you guys for locking in on the channel the way you guys have. It means a lot to us. Goes a long way. That like button is truly currency in this YouTube space. It's the lifeblood. So make sure you guys exercise your power as a consumer and continue to smash that like button on both channels. We're live on Pro Fan Talk, and we're also live on the Chalk It Up Sports Network. So make sure you guys continue to stay locked in. We really appreciate it, and we're so grateful for your super chats and your engagement. All right, so we got Soul on Wax here with the $10 super chat. He says, Bird Gang, let's go. I just jumped in the stream. Is Cam Jurgens active today? Yes, he is. He's active. So likely he'll get the green light to go. Also, Dallas Goedert is active as well, and Jalen Hurts is active. So we're pretty much full steam ahead as it pertains to our personnel. We're literally 21 for 22 in terms of our starters. Nakobe Dean is obviously out for the remainder of the year. But I think that's a great position to be in. On the Commander side, they're missing 2 crucial pieces in the trenches. And I think when it comes to Philadelphia Eagles, the trenches is the most important facet that you got to worry about. You're missing your best. You're missing your best offensive lineman, and you're missing arguably your best defensive lineman.
Facts.
Let's be honest about this. Deron Payne, I understand people love Jonathan Allen, but I feel like Deron Payne has been the guy for them. He's been the most available. He's been the most consistent. And you're missing Sam Cosmi, your best offensive lineman, on the interior. Who would he go up against if he was healthy? Jalen Carter. So now you got this guy, what's his name? Trent Scott, who's going to be filling in for him. Listen, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, I expect those guys, Moro Ojoma, who's come on, I expect those guys to really take advantage of their matchup. So again, Commanders fans are underestimating those losses. The trenches it's the first line of defense. If you already can't stop the run, and now you're without one of your best run defenders in Deron Payne, if you already know you got to go up against Jalen Carter, and now your starting guard is out, that you're already playing behind the 8 ball. So again, Soul on Wax, everybody's active for us. As far as the Commanders go, they're in a little bit of a predicament. And that Deron Payne deactivation didn't happen until yesterday. So he was trying. So we'll see how they adjust. We will see.
Yeah. I'll remind Eagles fans what it feels like when Lane Johnson is out.
That's the Sam Cosmi effect for them.
Correct.
The pressure they allow when he's there compared to when he's not there, night and day. Night and day. All right. Thank you, Soul on Wax. Frank Rice with the super chat. He says, and thank you for the 999, Frank. He says, I love Ertz, even having the all blackout jersey. I have love for Hurts. I even have his all blackout jersey. But my man's is an op today. Do y'all think he gets booed today? I mean, he getting cracked. He getting more than booed. He getting cracked. I got the Zach Ertz Super Bowl 52 jersey. He's forever in my heart.
Yeah, he'll get booed. He'll get booed pregame.
Yeah,
but he'll be cheered as he leaves the field.
But guess what? Every now and again, you got to put belt the ass to people you love.
Yeah,
listen,
and we gotta keep an eye on him too.
It's gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. Hey, listen, that's what mom used to say back. It's gonna hurt me. It's gonna hurt me a lot more than it hurts you. Listen. I'm not upset. You just disappointed me.
You just disappointed me, Zach.
All money ain't good money. All money ain't good money, man. You could have got that money somewhere else, brother. But it's all good, man. It's all good. Shout out to Zach Ertz, and he is going to be a factor today. He's been that security blanket for Jaden Daniels. Yep. I think he's been very instrumental in Jaden Daniels' development. But yeah, man, Zach Ertz going to get cracked today, and let's hope he finishes the game. I don't want Mrs. Ertz to be upset. I know they still do a lot for the city here and their foundation, but
he's an op.
He's an op.
Let's go.
He's an op, man. He's a Judas. Shout out to Frank. Private McClunky with the super chat. Thank you, McClunky. He says on that safety. There was a player there was a player like 5 feet away from Goddard. I think if Jalen throws that, it would be like last year when Swift got smacked against the Niners, but he does have to get rid of it. I saw that play. I feel like he had plenty of time and space to make a play or security.
With the way the direction that Goddard was going,
he was going
linebacker would have had to chase.
Yeah, he would have to chase. Yeah. So look, man.
But at the very least, he gets out of that hole.
Yeah, exactly. At the very least, he catches it. He falls to the ground and whatever. He gets some breathing room. So I'm not going to
safety.
It ain't a safety. So I'm not going to let him off the hook for that. You can't take a safety. You can't.
Nah, that was on Jalen.
That was one of the worst Jalen Hurts plays I've ever seen. So I can't let him off the hook for that. Thank you for the super chat, McClunky. Soul on Wax back again. He says, I got one key to this game today, and it's 2 words. Vic Fangio. What's his game plan for the rookie quarterback? Listen, they're going to squeeze him. I got a feeling that, they're going to rush for sure and try to get him to the ground. But I think there's going to be a level of discipline that's exercised, and they've been very disciplined. This defensive line throughout the playoffs and throughout the season. So, we'll see how they execute. But like you said, man, Vic Fangio, they're not going to allow this Commanders offense to get off. This Commanders offense is going to have to be very, very opportunistic. And if they don't take advantage of those opportunities, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, they're going to try to bring the pressure with our normal rush, meaning if you can get pressure on the quarterback without bringing a blitz, that benefits the defense because
that's what we do. We get pressure before. We don't blitz like that. We really
that's
get
why
pressure
Jalen Carter is so important.
Exactly.
That's why he's so important.
Exactly. And shout out to Jonathan Hart with the $2 super chat. He says, wow, one of the mods muted me. Hey, listen, you guys, please stop muting people just for no reason. Like, seriously. It's very frustrating when people mute people when it's unwarranted.
As long as they're not disrespectful, it's all good.
As long as they're not racist, they're not bringing any politics into this, they're not being sexist or misogynistic or xenophobic, all the isms and all the obics and all that. Like, listen, all the phobias, like, just please stop muting people just because they disagree with you. Stop muting people just because they irritate you. It's very frustrating for me because it makes it hard for me to tell who's doing it. And quite frankly, I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to just remove all my wrenches and start from scratch and just give out my mods to people who I know is going to use it wisely. So please stop muting people, man. Stop muting people. It's very frustrating for me. Anyway, shout out to Jonathan Hart for the super chat, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, man. All right, you guys. So my score.
Yeah, one more.
Oh, one more just came in. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, one more.
One more.
Steven,
thank you for the super chat, Steven. He said, shout out to Tone. Flag was fly. Jalen Hurts is going to ball out on one leg. Listen, I think Commanders fans are underestimating Jalen Hurts when it comes to that knee. I got to feel like Jalen Hurts is going to just come out and be like, oh, shit. Like, I thought he had a bum knee. Like, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be clean today. He's going to be clean. He tends to play mistake-free football. He's going to allow the game plan to develop in. Jalen Hurts, he's a very smart quarterback. He's a very intuitive quarterback. He tends to make the right decisions. So I have the utmost confidence in Jalen Hurts getting the job done today. Shout out to Stephen for the super chat. So yeah, Marcus, your score prediction was
30-17.
30-17. Mine was 31-20. So you and I both have this Eagles team winning by double digits today, winning by 2 possessions. So that's great to hear. I'm glad we're on the same page with that. Eagles fans, there you have it. This has been your Eagles pregame show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk and Tony DeShields II from the Chalk It Up Sports Network. And make sure you guys smash that like button. Again, the like button is currency. Our channels don't grow without the like button. We don't get to that level we want to get to. We don't have enough people in this live stream like we do now without that like button. We have over 700 people between both of our channels because you guys are smashing that like button and because you guys are active and you guys are engaged and you guys are supporting and you guys are commenting as well. So make sure you guys continue to stay tuned. This is going to be a hell of a game, you guys. The Eagles will win this game. The Eagles will control this game. And it's going to be a disappointing day for the Washington Commanders. And we will be here regardless of the outcome. But I know what the outcome is going to be. That's how confident I am. So make sure you guys feel the same way. And we're going to get it done today. We got one final super chat, then we out of here, y'all. Dirty D, he says, tell him, Tone, these talking heads calling the Eagles out. I'm hoping for a Philly beatdown, 31-27 Philly. Okay, I like that, man. That's cool. That's cool. Other than that, man, we appreciate y'all so much. Dirty D, thank you for the super chat. Make sure you guys smash that like button. You guys have been tuned in to the Eagles pregame show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk and Tony DeShields II from the Chalk It Up Sports Network, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Fly, Eagles, fly, and let's get this W, y'all.
Go Birds.
Hey, Marcus, play the song, man.
Let's go.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. 9 guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, here to